We're making Tex-Mex style burritos in this one. They taste absolutely fantastic. They're super easy to make, and all of the ingredients can be swapped and changed to your dietary requirements, so there's no need to worry about that. We're going to start out with 2 brown or yellow onions. As usual, we're going to remove both sides, slice it in half, and then just remove those annoying skins, and you can save all of the scraps for a stock. Slice the onion in the half moon position, going lengthways into thin or medium sized strips. We want them to be a little bit chunky because we don't want these to be completely cooked through. We're then going to need 2 bell peppers or capsicums. I'm going to be using green for this recipe, and everyone does this differently. I just like to slice them in half, rip out the core and seeds, remove the pith with my fingers, and then just bang it on the bench to remove those excess seeds. We're then going to thinly slice this the same size as the onion because these are going to be cooked together. We want them to cook at the same rate. Moving on, we're going to need 2 avocados. Make sure they're ripe, and obviously these ones are quite small, so you can use more if you need to. Slice around the seed, be careful of your hand, and you can do it on a board if you want to be more safe. Remove the seed, and I've also had people in the comments saying that you can squeeze the avocado, and yeah, it does work, but it's really messy and you do end up wasting some of the avocado, so it's a lot easier to just scoop it out with a spoon. For the avocado, we're also going to need half a lime. Slice this in half and then save half of it for another drink or another recipe. Squeeze that juice into the avocado and then hit this up with some sea salt flakes to taste. You can also go in with some black pepper as well if you wanted to. Then just use a fork or a masher just to break this up. And I like to keep it a little bit chunky. I don't like to have it completely smooth, but it's completely up to you and your personal preference. With that done, we can then put this in the fridge until we're ready to serve. And these are the macros for the avocado alone. Obviously, there's not much to it, but they do have quite a bit of calories. These next ingredients are all optional, they're just fillers for the burrito. I'm going with 2 baby cos or romaine lettuces. Just shred this up into nice thin strips. The correct terminology for this in the culinary world is chiffonade, and I do recommend giving this a good wash because there is quite a bit of dirt in this. The next optional ingredient is 150 grams of mozzarella cheese. Just grate this on a box grater and then we can put both of these aside for the time being. Now for the fajita mix, place a large pan over a medium-high heat, add in 2 teaspoons of an oil of your choice, then we're going to slide in the onions as well as those capsicums or bell peppers. Hit it up with a little bit of sea salt flakes to taste as well as some cracked black pepper if you wanted to. Then we're going to saute this for about 5 to 6 minutes, just until it's beautifully golden brown and nice and soft, but still has that little bit of a bite. You can either flick the pan with your hand like what I did here, or you can use a spatula or a wooden spoon, it's completely up to you. But after about 6 minutes, you should have something that looks like this, which is nice and golden brown, also a little bit soft, as well as a little bit firm. To this now, add in 1.5 grams of both ground cumin and smoked paprika. This is going to add an earthy warmth, smoky, peppery notes, as well as a nice colour. Hit it up with some salt to taste, and then we're just going to mix and cook for about 1 minute just to get that infusion into those onions and bell peppers, or capsicums, depending on where you're from. Leaving us with this that can then be removed from the stovetop and just kept aside for the time being, and these are the macros per portion for the vegetable fajitas. Let's then place that same pan back over a medium-high heat, add in 3 teaspoons of an oil of your choice, slide in 500 grams of turkey mince, and you can also use beef, chicken or pork if you wanted to change it up. Hit it up with some salt to taste, then let this sit for about 2 minutes, which will form a beautiful crust on the bottom, before we can then get in there with a spatula or a wooden spoon and then mix and break this up, cooking this for about 7 to 8 minutes, making sure that it's completely cooked through. Now once that is cooked through, we're going to add in 7 grams of ground cumin for that earthy warmth, 2.5 grams of sweet paprika for a nice peppery note and colour, 2.5 grams of chili powder for a nice heat. If you don't like the heat, don't add it. Then we're going to add in 200 grams of salsa of your choice. I've gone with the classic old El Paso for this. You can also make your own if you wanted to. But with that all in, just give this a really good mix around. Cook it for 2 minutes until it's reduced and coating everything really well. These are the macros for the turkey mince, and obviously these would change if you changed the protein. Now to get these wrapped up, we're going to need 5 tortillas. I've gone with flour for this recipe, but you can use corn or even gluten-free. Add on the avocado as well as some black beans that have been drained and rinsed. Then we're going to go over with that vegetable fajita mix, the turkey mix, the chiffonaded lettuce, as well as the mozzarella cheese, and all of the weights and nutrition values for these fillers are in the description, as well as included in that final macro card that you'll see in a minute. As for wrapping, I like to fold in the sides, then bring back from the bottom over to the top, tucking it in with my fingers, and then just make sure that those sides are completely tucked in before scrunching it back on that top piece, rolling it completely over. You might have a better technique, but what we're then left with is these beautiful burritos that are nicely wrapped and ready for the next step. It's then up to you. You can toast these before wrapping them, or you can wrap them fresh like what I'm doing here, and these will last 4 days in the fridge and up to 4 months in the freezer. But if you wanted to toast them before wrapping them, or even just when you're ready to serve, just place a pan over a medium-high heat, add in a spray oil of your choice or a very light drizzle of another oil. Then place in the burrito, fold side down, this will seal it all together, and just toast for about 1.5 minutes on as many sides as you can get it. Obviously it's round shape so it can be a little bit awkward, just make sure it's nice and golden brown all over and a little bit crispy. It adds a fantastic texture. When you are ready to serve, depending on if you toasted it or kept it fresh, slice it in half. You can do it on a slight angle to be a little bit fancy, but what we have then just created is these absolutely fantastic burritos that look and smell absolutely incredible. Also, this macro card right here is per burrito, and it does include all of those fillers. Whether you toasted it or not, there is only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, we can then dig in. This is one of those dishes where the flavor is amazing, but it's the texture that takes it to the next level. Obviously, you've got the crunchy tortilla from toasting it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Then you've got more texture and crunch from the lettuce, as well as the vegetables, because we don't want to cook them all the way to the point that they're soft, because then it goes with the avocado that's smashed, and that's where you get that nice little soft, creamy texture from. The black beans add amazing flavor, as well as the cheese melting through it when you toast it. Obviously, if you don't toast it, it's not gonna melt. But other than that, this is absolutely incredible. Please do try this recipe. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.